Okay, now in this video, what we're going to do is we are going to take a look at how to restore WordPress from a backup that you have created. And a couple notes before we get started. Before doing a manual restore, you always want to exhaust all other avenues first. And what I mean by that is you want to verify 100% that, for example, your site has been hacked and it requires this complete raw restore. And by exhausting other avenues, that typically means contacting your web hosting provider first and having them look at everything and have them verify, yeah, you know what, you're screwed. You need to do, a complete reinstall. And they may be able to do the reinstall for you if they've been doing backups, and it depends upon how often you post and things like that. But in this example, we're going to pretend that the site's been hacked. I contacted the web host. They're like, yeah, you're screwed, and I want to go ahead and do the restore myself. Now, what I'm going to show you here also happens to be the same process that you'll use if you want to move your WordPress site to a new web host, for example, or if you are just testing stuff or want to test stuff on your WordPress site and you don't want to do the testing on your live site and you just want to install another copy of WordPress in your domain and then copy all of your existing live site data over so that way you can test things. The process is going to be the same for all of these. Now, what I'm about to show you might seem a little bit techy, a little bit over your head. Don't freak out. Don't worry. There's nothing difficult about this. Just watch the video and follow along. Okay, step one is that we need to delete our existing WordPress files. Remember, if your site gets hacked, it's likely that not only have files been modified, but there have probably been files added, and plus the hackers probably injected stuff in the database as well. So the first step is that we want to delete all of our existing WordPress files, and this might seem a little bit scary to do, but it's no big deal. And what you want to do is use your FTP software, or you can use the file manager in cPanel. You go into your public HTML folder. You want to navigate to where your blog is installed. Mine is in sample A here. And then what you want to do, all these files out here, you want to delete all of them, everything. So I'm going to highlight everything here, and I'll right click and choose delete. It's going to say, hey, you want to do this? I'm going to say yep. And it may take a few minutes for everything to be deleted. Okay, so that took several minutes, but now everything has been deleted. Now, for our next step, what we want to do is we need to download a fresh copy of WordPress and then upload it to our site. So what I'll do here, the browser, I'll go to wordpress.org. I can go to download WordPress. I'm going to go ahead and download the zip file. That will give me a zip file like I see here. When I unzip it, there'll be a directory called WordPress, and I don't want to upload just the directory. I want to go into the directory and upload the individual files. So what I'll do is I will go back to my FTP software. This is my web hosting account. This is my local hard drive. It's my WordPress folder. I'm going to grab all of these files as is. I'm not going to change anything. I'm not going to screw with any of them. I'm just going to grab all these files as is and upload them to my site. And this will take several minutes, so I'll pause the video while this runs. Okay, so my upload is complete. I've uploaded all new WordPress files, so nothing can be infected. At this point, you might be tempted to go to your browser and check out your blog. Don't do it. Nothing is set up yet. All we've done is replace the old infected WordPress files with new things. Everything's not hooked up yet. The next step we want to do is we want to go to this out of the way. We want to go to our Dropbox account, okay, where we have our backup. So I'm going to log into Dropbox here, and remember, the backup will go into Apps, into the WPB2D folder. And then for our individual files, what we want to do is go here. We want to download each one. And this is the content that will repopulate our WordPress blog and hook everything back up, so to speak. So I'm going to go to each of these files in the folders, and I'm going to download them to my local hard drive. And I'll pause the video while I do this. Okay, so what I've done is I downloaded all the files from Dropbox and I had created a folder called backup files. And this is where everything got downloaded to. You can see there's my htaccess, there's my WP config, and there's my WP content. Now remember, the way the plugin works for Dropbox, if I go into the WP content folder, I have this extra backups folder. And that's where I have the actual database information. And when I re-upload this stuff, I don't want this database information, this .sql file, to be uploaded with this WP content folder. So I'm just going to grab this guy and pull him out here, okay, like that. And that way, when I re-upload these guys, everything that was originally there will appear there again, will appear as it was again. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my FTP software. I'm going to go to where my backup files were downloaded to on my hard drive, and I'm going to upload these guys. So I'll start with htaccess.txt, and a funny thing that happened with this is it got a .txt extension, and I'm going to show you what I need to do once I re-upload this. Okay, it's uploaded, and I need to rename this guy. You probably don't have to do this. This is just kind of a quirk that happened on my end, but it should simply be .htaccess, like that. I'm going to re-upload my WP config. Okay, and then my WP content folder, and what it will do is it will ask me, hey, do I want to overwrite this stuff? Or your FTP software may say that and say yes, you want to go ahead and overwrite all the existing stuff. So it's going to take a minute or two for this to upload, so I'm going to pause the video while this runs. Okay, so now the upload is complete. So at this point, what I've done is I've deleted all my existing WordPress files, downloaded the backups from Dropbox, uploaded a fresh version of WordPress, at least the files, and then I uploaded my backup WordPress files on the system. Again, at this point, you might be tempted to go into your browser and check out your site. Don't do it. Remember, we have a final step here where we need to restore the actual database. Because if your site was hacked, the database that's still out there can have code that's just going to screw everything up again. Okay, so for our next step, we need to delete the data from the existing database and then import the data from our backup database. Okay, and to do this, we need to use something called phpMyAdmin. And the way you access this is through your web hosting account's cPanel account. So my web host is HostGator. I'm logged into my cPanel account. And I'm going to scroll down here, and we're going to look for the guy that says phpMyAdmin. It's typically under databases. And this is a utility that allows us to go in and actually touch the databases and tables that we have. So I'm going to go into this guy, and along the left-hand column here, you're going to see all of your databases that you have, and you might have a large number of databases like I do. It's very important that you select the database that belongs with your blog. In my example here, it is sample A, so I'm going to click on this database. And that's going to give me all of the tables within the database. And the tables actually contain all the information that we need to wipe out and then restore. So I'm going to verify that I'm in my correct database for my blog. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to choose check all. I'm going to go over here. And I'm going to choose drop. It's going to say, hey, do you really want to do this? I'm going to say, yep, you bet. And boom, everything's been wiped out. So what I've done here is I've completely deleted all of the data that's contained in the database for my WordPress blog. So anything malicious that's in there, any code that a hacker put in there, it's all gone now. So at this point, all I need to do is import that backup database that I had at Dropbox. So now I'm going to go and choose import. And it's going to say, hey, go ahead and choose a file. So I'm going to go to my backup files. It's in the backups folder. And it's the file that has the .sql extension. I'm going to select him, choose it. And then I'm just going to go down and click Go. Okay, and depending upon how large your database backup is, this may be very quick or it may take several minutes. It's going to come up and tell you that it's done. Now what I can do is I can go up here, click on it, and I can see, okay, good, all of my tables are back, and the tables contain all of the good data. Now at this point, and only at this point, can we go back to our website and check out our blog, and everything should appear exactly as it was before. Okay, and here's my blog. Everything looks good. I want to log in to the admin area and do a quick check. Make sure all my plugins are there. Yep, all my plugins are there. Everything looks good, and everything's going to work exactly like it did before your site got hacked, so to speak. Now, if something goes wrong where this doesn't work, that typically means maybe one or two things. The first thing is that the backup that you're using was actually corrupted as well. So you'll need to go to a version of your backup files on Dropbox, and you just need to sort through to find a version where the files in the database weren't corrupted by a hacker. Or the other thing that can happen is sometimes, if I go back to my FTP software here, sometimes this guy right here, that .htaccess file, it can cause problems. So if you're running into problems where you're getting a 500 server error, or you just can't access anything, the first step would be to maybe make a backup of this .htaccess file and then delete it and see what happens. And then after that, you're probably going to have to contact your web host, but 99 times of 100, if you follow what I showed you right here, you can very quickly and easily restore your WordPress site from your backup.